It all started one night, the night that Jeffrey Woods completely mad and killed his parents and his beloved brother Lou Woods. Jeff stopped being the boy who was and became a soulless monster and pure desire to kill. But really he had his brother Lou died after receiving multiple cuts and stab wounds. No, survived the attack on my brother, barely as a vile worm, to bleed each centimeter that ran. I felt like my heart broke for the effort, however, I resisted eager to live, go to Jeff. Then everything went black and I fainted. It took a long time to wake up. It was in a fairly lit, full of tubes and medicine room. Just feel my body, I could not speak, could not eat, I fed through a tube, breathing through a ventilator, he could barely make out who I was, I only heard a doctor talking to a nurse. This patient may not survive, needs many transplants, his left lung collapsed, his heart is very delicate and kidneys are failing, is almost impossible to survive. Those words took me all hoping to survive what had happened. Then came the day when I would transplants needed, and as he could not speak yet, and was quite sedated, I could not express my joy at the time, so I saved it for when I recovered. The nurse greeted me, "Hey, I'm Susan, I wish you the best of luck. You're very strong, barely you survived that assassination attempt. I personally wanted to take care of you because I admire your strength. I wish that when you leave the hospital ever get out." He kissed my cheek and blushed. He could not deny it was a very beautiful girl, but did not know if he would live this. It's time which would decide whether he would live or die. The doctor told me that as a young strong and survived a long time, was likely to survive. He put his mask and went to sleep, but why even felt what they did to me? At that moment, I felt like a cold blade that pierced me to the side of the heart. The first cut was the most painful, then something opened my skin, the pain was more intense with each passing second, every cut was more painful than the last, but the most painful thing was when they started to cut my heart out of my body and that moment was just the beginning of my torture, hours of excruciating pain, every cut, every part of me that replaced each suture, all the pain through my body. They spent days in that bed unable to move, unable to speak, only to hear the voice of that nurse. Susan was with me day and night, talking to me, telling me to resist. He wanted me alive, really wanted to meet, and hoped to talk to me and hear my voice. A week passed and she came more often, came and sang to me, read me, but one day before being able to move my body, I whispered, "Now I want you to wake up." She kissed the finish that sentence and I began to feel my body. I managed to open my eyes and I could admire. She wept for joy when he saw me awake. "Hi Susan, I'm Lou Woods." She was stunned. "Really, your brother Jeff Woods? He was here a while." "It was really bad, I learned who went crazy and killed his family. How is it that you survived, Lou?" I also knew that 3 days ago kidnapped a young and burned alive with bleach and gasoline, then escaped from there and has not been seen, but at home, or what remains of it, there are no more than 2 corpses. It is rumored that she survived, but did not know what happened to the corpse's brother Jeff. Some said it took him, but slept in the room where his brother is, where you slept. They found written in blood on the wall, "Go to sleep," and the bath written, "Smile" in the mirror. I very much regret the death of your parents, seriously, and as I think you want to return to that place, would you want to sleep over at my house for a while? Well, when you get out of recovery, I live alone since my parents died in a car accident, so spare me a room. I accepted the offer of Susan. When I leave here, I want to take you to dinner, wherever you want. I just need one day to accompany me to my old home to find my clothes, but I do not think it is still there. He accepted with some fear. The following day she visited me every day, laughed together, we were very close, almost seemed like we were a couple, so I asked her to be my girlfriend. She said, "Yes, Lou, I want to be your girlfriend." I was going to ask but did not know how. He approached me and we kissed. I was so happy, things were fixing to me. I was a person who would be my new family. I left the hospital. It was my first day out there. Susan welcomed me with open arms. As it was daylight, I told him that we were by my clothes to my new home, said yes, but you have to bring something to protect ourselves in case your brother's still hanging around. I replied, okay, a couple of butcher knives, a syringe, some painkillers, also a little emergency kit in case we need suturing, you or me, if a glass can cause a wound that needs stitches, a bottle of water fresh from the fridge, and a can of soda if we are thirsty. We went to his house and picked everything you need, plus a bag to carry my stuff. Back in my old home, he tightened his grip my arm. I said, do not be afraid, everything will be fine. I kissed her to calm down. I opened the door a kick, was closed, we walked in and saw that the walls of my house were full of blood, the blood of my parents. We find in the kitchen a gallon of gas, a vacuum of bleach and some matches jar. Still touring the house, we saw the bathroom that was with the door open and saw the mirror with the word smile written in blood, the sink and the floor covered in blood. My whole house was just full of blood. In the end, we went next door was on my parents' room and found the sheets stained with blood. My whole house was like, full of blood. In the end, we entered the most disturbing place of my house, my room. The phrase go to sleep was written in blood on the wall, as Susan said. I looked in my closet, my belongings, my laptop, my MP3, my phone and my clothes, only what was not full of blood. When you turned to see my room, I remembered the disturbing face of Jeff looking at me with those eyes full of madness holding a bloody knife in hand saying, should just go to sleep. That memory was what termed to break the little sanity I had left. I told Susan to give me the bag where we had things. I went to the bathroom, take the knife and said, Jeff, I'll see you in hell damn when the two have died. After the sentence, talked to Susan, kissed her, I said goodbye my love, but I see Jeff to get back to what made me, revenge for killed my parents and nearly killed me. I love you Susan, but you will not be able to see after I die. I regret this very much. I was about to kill her, but no, I did not. I would not become Jeff. I begged Susan to forgive me, to come to my old home had affected me. I said, okay, Lou, I love you, and I know that being so close to death can affect, we go home. I ordered a taxi and went home. I went to bathe. While I bathed, I remembered every moment spent with my family, mom, dad, my childhood with Jeff, the pranks we did, everything we had together, the joy of having my family around. I began to mourn, but the sound of falling water drowned my sobs, so it did not matter. The first night was somewhat traumatic for me. In my nightmares I could see Jeff as it was before the accident, being brutally murdered by the new Jeff. Then I turned to look and say, Lou, why did you go to not sleep as I asked you? I woke up with a terrible fright. Susan Faith ran to my room. I said, what happened, Lou? Are you okay? I replied, if it was just a nightmare, do not worry. The next day, upon awakening, I felt a scent that has long not enjoyed. It was the smell of hotcakes freshly made. I went to the dining room, and there was Susan, preparing breakfast, as Mom did. He gave me good morning. He sat down and started eating. How much time had passed since he did not eat hotcakes made with love, I do not know, but the taste. It was so nice. I felt loved again, but happiness does not last long. It was driving me crazy. Each passing day, Susan reminded me more mom, so take a kitchen knife. I ran to her room. She was ready to go out with me on a date. She looked so beautiful. I did not feel capable of killing, not without knowing much he loved her, but not to feel love for the last time in his life. I loved her, but it was driving me crazy. Ever cost me more to live without sticking a knife in the heart. I could not be so. I did not kill her, but had no choice, or so I thought. Already leaving the theater, we walked home. He said, I love you Susan, but there's something inside me that it's killing me, and I do not know if support more. So I want you to know that I will love you no matter what happens. After the phrase, thugs out of an alley and took the bag. Susan, the wounded, I was angry. I wanted to kill him for hurting Susan, chased him with the knife he had hidden in my jacket. I dragged him to the alley where he stole the bag from my beloved, in front of her, so I made her apologize, wanted to take his life, but before I said to Susan, run, do not want you to see this, I love you Susan, and do not want to see this. He ran as far as he could. When I knew it was time, I told the guy, not forgive you for hurting Susan, she is so good, so pure. Hurt is a very serious crime, so I'll take your life, and only then you will pay for hurting her. Raised my knife and started stabbing him repeatedly. He could only see suffering in the eyes of this man, but still kept stabbing him until he died of multiple stab wounds. Wiped the blood off my leather jacket, which was pretty stained. Yet the day was warm temperature, so that I could take off my coat and fold, making only see the interior portion, so ultimately hide my ladrone. Solly murder toward the alley and found Susan in the cafe on the corner taking a good strong espresso. She was fine, the manager had bandaged his wound, I thanked my jacket hiding. Susan take home carefully, take her to her room and lay down on his bed. I said, Susan, you do not want this to happen, but I've noticed one thing, and not let anyone hurt you, starting today, you'll never be afraid, no one will hurt you, I swear. I kissed her and went to take a shower. I realized that I could not kill her, she was all I had in the world, was the only person he loved, but the guy had enjoyed killing of the alley, but could not kill anyone. I decided to just kill the people who hurt innocent people who do evil people that I cared, and above all, he would kill anyone who tried to hurt Susan. Days passed, more and killed more people, but it was annoying to have pants full of blood, so, buy a leather pants. Then kill was less annoying, jacket and trousers, both leather, which I could easily clean with white gasoline he had bought to time. Killing an increasingly boring habit turned, killing with simple stabbing was very repetitive, so I was using still more twisted each time. Some were burned alive with gasoline, others operated without anesthesia, others forced to eat his own guts, others cut into pieces and threw them stray dogs, but never killed any innocent, only killed criminals and thugs. That made me a hero, right? Ending making criminals suffer the most horrible ways, every day using more horrible ways to kill twisted, came home, cleaned my clothes in the blood of criminals and spend quality time with Susan, until one day, invite to dinner. I had a job as a cook in a restaurant, earning well, but took her to a beautiful place, in the light of the candles. I said, Susan, we've been together almost a year. I know you the love of my life. I do not know how I could live without you. I want to propose something. I knelt down and removed a ring from my bag. Will you marry me? He moved and with tears in her eyes said, If Lou, I want to marry you. We left the restaurant. I had not been so happy in my life, but a dam came with a gun and shot him. I was filled with anger and hatred, but he could not leave Susan alone there, bleeding, dying, ran and get to the nearest hospital. The doctors told me this delicate, might not wake up, expect the worst. I went to get the damned who had shot him. Never forget your face. I spent hours walking the streets until I found it, hit him nearly senseless, and said, Will you give me your life, bastard? Because of you my Susan is on the brink of death, and you will pay with your life. He died when I finished the sentence. I got to the hospital, the doctor said that Susan was awake, he was talking to her, and I did. And Susan's room saw me and said, Lou. Are you? I'm glad you came. I hope to resist and you managed to resist what happened to you. I love you, Lou. I do not want to die, but if I do not want you to kill yourself, I love you too much to die for me. I know what you did, I know you kill criminals, and though not a very noble method, the mission you have what is, be sure to do what you do, Lou. An hour passed in which we talked, in which he said all he had to say, did not want to lose it, do not want to lose the only person left me in this world. The doctor came in and said, we need to operate, Mr. Woods will recover. She was taken to the operating room, were 3 hours that seemed eternal. I wanted to gouge my eyes out of despair, but hope that Susan survived was what I still standing. Term operation, the doctor who took care of everything said, the operation was a success, it is stable, awake and morning 2 weeks will leave the hospital. Those words touched me so much, I felt so peaceful to know that Susan would be fine. I was in his room all day waiting for him to wake, woke up and said, who are you and where my parents are? Those words filled me with sadness. Susan had forgotten me, but I had to do to remind me when recovered, the ride to the hospital where we first met. He said, are you Lou? As you've changed. She began to remember, take it to my old home, and remembered what we were there. I kept taking it to all significant places for us during the week, until we got to the restaurant that I proposed. She remembered everything. He hugged me and said, Lou, now I remember everything, thanks for being with me until he regained it. And I said, you did the same for me, I owe much, Susan. I kissed her, but when we parted, he began to convulse, scared me a lot and take her to the hospital, back in the hospital, not hate go on, but I loved her. I do not leave her alone when she needed me. I stayed there to wait for news from the doctor, and he said, I'm sorry sir, but your girlfriend is dead. That phrase filled me with sadness and hatred, take the doctor and neck Trone because there was no reason to hold back. I began to kill everyone in the hospital, men, women, children and sick, I killed them all. he could not bear them to live, and my Susan, no, she could not die and would not let that happen, but it was inevitable. My clothes were full of blood of innocent people, my hands were full of blood, and my eyes had changed. So I decided to do something. I went for a knife and started to cut a heart in my chest, the initials of Susan and her time of death, our anniversary and the date when we met, then went for a needle and thread, and I sewed the edges of my lips into a smile for anyone to see and suffer inside. When I finished, I went home, took my leather clothes and things that used to kill, and left there, never to return. Now, I live killing all people to be happy, but when I die, I cannot see her. But kill me comfort, if you see me, run and do not show your happiness. Or you will die a very vicious and twisted way. They cannot tell your body what it was before meeting me. Homicidal Lou survivor Jeff the Killer.